With that down, Chris, what is our next main topic today?
Next, we're hearing from Sooner Thrawn. It was revealed Jane Foster returns in Thor 4 and will be Lady Thor. This is an interesting surprise and sounds a little strange, but could be pretty cool. Not sure. What are your thoughts on this new plot reveal? Thanks, John and crew. And Rob, you are excited about this, like I am. So I want to hear your thoughts on what you think about Jane.
Well, again, what does Marvel do? They look to their comic books for inspiration to the stories that they decide to tell. This was a big story that Jane Foster became Thor within the pages of the comics. And I think this movie is called Thor Love and Thunder. It's so metal, just like Thor Ragnarok. I mean, I could see like a Megadeth album cover is what they're going to go for with the movie poster for this. I mean, I loved Ragnarok. I could see this, and what better thing could you have than Thor and Jane Foster also as a thunder goddess taking on hordes of I don't know what. I mean, this to me could be evocative of everything from Iron Maiden to Quiet Riot. I cannot wait for this. I want to see her come. I want her to rock my thunder. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I think it's going to be great, and I can't wait. Although I will say Natalie's got some work in the gym to do before she can convince me that she can wield Mjolnir. I mean, that's a tough one. But I can't wait.
Remember, her powers don't come from her actual physical muscles, and Mjolnir is more about worthiness and all that kind of stuff.
I know, but still.
Did you see the social media post Natalie Portman put up about that? She put up a picture of her on the Comic-Con stage holding Mjolnir, and she goes, "Here's your before picture after I get jacked for this role." So she actually was acknowledging that herself in there as well.
I've loved Natalie Portman. God love her.
Oh, I mean, ever since The Professional. I mean, like, she is...
I have an action figure of Natalie Portman in The Professional.
No, of course you do.
I do.
What am I thinking? Why was I even doubting that for a second? Look, Natalie Portman is, number one, world-class Academy Award-winning actress. Her talent is beyond question. She's amazing. She's also one of the most, male or female, one of the most beautiful creatures to walk the face of the earth. She's amazing. God, I loved her in Black Swan. I was thrilled when she was announced to be in Thor. I was not thrilled with the Jane character in Thor. And I don't blame Natalie Portman for her performance. It was not an interestingly written character. I thought the Jane character, and one of the worst romances that I felt no chemistry of at all from the first two Thor films they've ever done in the MCU, between her, the Jane character and the Thor character, never felt it. You add on top of that, like I said earlier, I am not big on this whole such and such a character becomes the new this character. No, look, Thor is not a title. Thor is not a mantle. Thor is who he is. He's Thor. He isn't suddenly going to become Bobby. His name's Thor. Somebody else, if I'm going to step out at some point, Rob, I'm going to be on vacation and you're going to host the John Campea Show. Your name doesn't suddenly become John. You're still Rob. And I am still John. This whole thing about, and Taika Waititi clearly said she is now Thor. She is the new Thor. And I'm like, wait a minute. Is she now suddenly Odin's biological child? This makes no sense to me. So there's a couple strikes against it here as far as I'm concerned, Rob. Number one, you are now elevating one of the least well-received characters in the history of the MCU. That generally speaking, people don't love this character. We love Natalie Portman, but people don't love the Jane character. And they've never liked the relationship there. When you're talking about the title called Love and Thunder, you assume there's going to be some kind of love interest there and all that kind of stuff. So again, you're going to have a lot of work to do to make that work for me. I don't like the idea. I don't mind the idea. If you want to take inspiration from the comics books of saying Jane gets bestowed with the powers of the Asgardians and she herself becomes a character, I'm not opposed to that. But to say she now becomes Thor. Now, I got no problem with her being able to lift Mjolnir. They always portrayed Jane as a very pure of heart character who is brave and courageous and pure of heart and all that kind of stuff. So, I'm not against the idea that she can wield the Mjolnir. And by wielding Mjolnir, by Odin's enchantment, you possess the powers of Thor. Great. But Captain America wielded Thor. His name didn't stop being Steve and suddenly became Thor. No, he was still Captain America. He was still Steve. So I'll tell you what. I love the idea, because you and I have talked about this before, Rob. I love the idea that they're doing another Thor. I love that Taika Waititi's coming back. And I do trust Taika Waititi. And clearly we trust Kevin Feige. So overall, am I still looking forward to this movie? Absolutely. But I will admit a little bit of my enthusiasm has taken a bit of a hit from the whole notion about them making somebody else a new Thor, which I don't like that in concept anyway. There are some exceptions where it works, and maybe this will be one. They're elevating a character that's one of their least well-received characters. They're suggesting they're going to try to respark romance, which we don't know that for sure, but the title seems to suggest it, which I don't think has ever worked. So I got to admit, while I'm still looking forward to Thor 4, I got to say this news has taken a bit of wind out of my sails for it. A little bit of wind out of my sails. Still looking forward to it, but I'm just a little iffy on this right now. Chris, listen, you heard about this whole thing with Natalie Portman becoming Thor, all this kind of stuff. What do you make of it? How do you receive it?
I'm excited about it, but cautious. I've got a little grain of sand in there. So in the comics, this all happens, right? And it's after the events of Original Sin, when Thor is no longer worthy of Mjolnir, and then we have a Lady Thor all of a sudden. But what works in the comics too is we have this slow build of who is wielding this new Thor mantle of sorts, who is the woman behind that Asgardian mask, and then we learn it's Jane. So that was one of the things the comics had going for it that really, really worked. We know Jane's going to become Thor already. So that's where I have a little bit of an issue. But what I'm much more excited about, and I don't know why no one is talking about this, are we going to get Beta Ray Bill in this movie?
That's
yeah, we are.
Question, yeah.
This is so metal. The name is ridiculous. This is 80s as hell. Give me Beta Ray Bill. I could care less about Jane, honestly. I want him. I love the fact that we had that guy first wielding the hammer. Get him in here.
Do we got Korg in Ragnarok? We are going to get Beta Ray Bill in this movie. I'm convinced of it more than ever. I mean, this movie is called Love and Thunder. I mean, that is a metal title.
That is painted on every van.
Metal title.
I mean, it's metal, just like Ragnarok. I mean, it's so... I want to hear, Guns N' Roses in this movie. I want to hear maybe a love scene to November Rain. When I look into her eyes, you can feel a love restrained. I mean, I can't wait!
Look, here's a question. Where the hell did Mjolnir come from?
Yeah.
Yet another fake Marvel death. The destruction of Mjolnir, because you say, the Cap took Mjolnir back. At least we think he did, didn't he? So where's this Mjolnir coming from? Is it a brand new Mjolnir? Is it a brand new rep? But then why not just give it a new name? I don't know. The Beta Ray Bill thing is interesting. See, the only thing, because I'm with you guys, I lean towards thinking there's going to be Beta Ray Bill. But the one thing that makes me hold back on that a little bit is, why wouldn't they say that at a Comic-Con panel where you utter the phrase, Beta Ray Bill? That place would have exploded with enthusiasm and excitement. The only thing I can think of is that we got D23 coming. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I think we're going to get a lot more announcements at D23. I think they're going to talk Black Panther at D23. I think they're going to talk I think they're going to show a full trailer for Black Widow at D23. I think we're going to get more information and more news that they didn't cover for 2020 and 2021 at D23. But one of those things that they could talk about is maybe a Beta Ray Bill gets brought up. But I'm caught on this question. Where the hell does Mjolnir come from at this point? Do they do another alternate dimension? Well, I'm just going to walk into one of the alternate dimensions, grab Mjolnir, bring it over, which is why I hate alternate dimension stuff. But anyway, so that's interesting. Question is, guys, what do you think about this announcement that Jane is going to be the new Thor? Jump down to the comment section below. A lot of people very excited about it. Some people like me a little bit apprehensive about it. Jump down in the comment section below and let me know your thoughts.